Adam, it was a game where it could have gone either way for 3.5 quarters. What did you see sort of in the end?
Oh, look, I think you're probably right, even though I think they probably controlled a bit more of the second half than what we did. But when the game's that close, it can always go either way. Just got to be able to finish your work a little better than what we did and give ourselves a chance.
And it was quite a free-flowing game in the first half in particular. Is that sort of the way you want the game to be played
Yep.
for your team?
Yeah, well, I felt like that first half I was really pleased with. I thought our pressure was high. I thought we were able to move the ball how we wanted to. I thought we were able to control their uncontested marks, which we didn't do in the second half. And then finish our work. And you know, we put to half time, we put 51 points on. Really good, strong, probably the best defensive team through the numbers in terms of scores against, and we were able to really hit the scoreboard. So I was really pleased from that facet. I thought we perhaps gave up some scores that we'd like to have our time again. But I guess everyone can say that, can't they? So in the second half we weren't quite at the same level.
How big of a setback were the injuries to Himmelberg and Haynes in your quest to win?
Oh, look, yeah, I thought they unsettled our back line a little bit. That's fair. We had to shift James Peatling from our forward end to back to cover Hainesy to begin with, and then at half time we found out that Himmel hadn't passed his HIA. So we then shifted Perryman back, and I thought both those boys did okay, but we didn't quite get the same rebound that we get out of Haynes and Himmelberg. But ultimately it's that's what we were dealt with. So I think we managed it okay.
How are they, both of them?
They seem fine in the rooms, but clearly given that they were ruled out, they'll miss next week's game down at Geelong, and I would imagine both will be fine for the following game.
Tom Green obviously comes back. I feel like you say every week. Just how important is he to the side? I think you have 4 goal assists today, irrespective of his goals.
Yep. Yeah, look, he's obviously a really difficult matchup. A couple of shots early, kicked 2 goals early perhaps. Look, he's really important to us, obviously. Our captain leads the way through example. Strong in the contest. I thought he was okay tonight.
How hard is it to make the 8 from this position now? Obviously you've got a Geelong away next week, players out. I mean, how tricky is it from here?
Oh, I think it's pretty tricky. I'm not sure that we're necessarily forecasting or thinking that far ahead, to be quite frank. I think our responsibility internally is to get our game on track for longer, play a little bit more reliably, a bit more consistently across the 4 quarters, and then the score takes care of itself. And if that means that we're able to do that for longer and win games, we'll give ourselves a chance. But right at this moment, we're not thinking finals. I mean, what are we, 3 and 7? That's a long way away.
At the start of the third quarter, I think they had 10 inside 50s, and you're able to turn it and kick 2 quick goals. How happy were you with some of the boys' efforts to try and wrestle back momentum during the game?
Yeah, I thought we had really good moments, but we didn't have enough of them. And I felt like to get to that point where you've conceded however many, 10 inside 50s and some scores, I mean, the best teams are able to do something about it before it gets to that, and we're not quite there yet. And it's about identifying it and then following it up with the actions required. And we had our moments, but we just didn't quite get the job done in those moments.
How do you work on that and get the team to where they need to be in terms of that?
Well, I think it's just bringing a light to the shifts in momentum. And then when we've got the momentum, we want to obviously capitalise as best as we possibly can. But in order to minimise the damage is typically around contest, both through the midfield and behind the ball, and then maximising any opportunity you get forward. Now, I felt like, we have 2 inside 50s late and kick 2 goals. So that's maximising your opportunities, and there's a bit of system in that. But we need to minimise better. And this has been a little bit of the case throughout our games. Some honourable losses. We're always in the game towards the end, but we're not able to yet quite minimise the damage when the opposition has momentum. Usually in the second half, sometime during the second half of the game. So that's clearly our work on. And until we can get that right, we'll continue to have honourable losses, which we're not all that happy about, to be quite fair.
A couple of players who perhaps haven't grasped as much of the limelight in recent times. Kieran Briggs in his first game of the year, and Brent Daniels. How impressed were you with their performance?
Really impressed. Yeah, I thought Kieran competed well at stoppage, but it was around the ground where he had more of an impact. I felt he's able to mark the ball ahead of the ball and behind, which is really important for a ruckman to be able to do. So I was really pleased that he was able to come in and do that. His VFL form has been quite strong, so that's good for him. We need him to continue on with that form. And then and Brent was really strong. I thought he played a forward role that really created the chaos. Really, he was the catalyst to getting our game up and going early. I think. He finished off. I don't know how many goals he ended up kicking, but he had plenty of opportunities and created plenty of opportunities. More importantly, so I mean, it's really a good story for him to be able to not play much, if at all, last year. Come back in after, I think it was something like 590 days of games between his last and his next game. So first game this year. So been really pleased for him. He's vital to our team.
You won the clearance count, but were beaten in the centre bounce. What did you make of the centre bounce and how you went there?
I thought the centre bounce stuff is. Yeah, it's a hard one. It's a 3v3, 4v4 game in the middle, in plenty of space. So you throw the ball on the ground and just win the ball most of the time. And they were just marginally better. I thought their wings supported the centre bounce a little better than what ours did, which probably resulted in some of their clearances. But all in all, the numbers are always going to be just ahead or just behind. It's what you can do from those centre bounces, and they kicked 2 goals from them when we weren't able to kick a goal. So you could argue that's the difference in the game, but we know the game's a bit more than just one area of it. So it's an area of the game that we continue to identify as something we need to continue to work on, but there's a few of those. So.
And just on Toby, he came off in the second term, looked to have hurt his left shoulder, looked very frustrated at the time, but obviously played out the match. Is he fine with that?
Yeah, he's fine. He just got a whack in the chest, so it wasn't bad. Certainly wasn't shoulder. So he was fine. Played out the rest of the game without any issues.
No other injuries, no?
Other than the 2 concussions, I think we're okay. But again, it's always hard 15 minutes after the game's played.